Underbelly presents Eaten. Killaloe Ontario Provincial Police Department. Date Sunday, July 27th, 2008. Time of incident late evening to early morning of the 27th. Type of incident wild animal attack. Please describe what you saw. I saw my friends dying. I saw a lot of blood. I saw a neat pile of guts on a stump. That one didn't have any blood on it, actually, but I saw where one end of the intestines was packed with shit. I don't think someone should have to see something like that. The insides of one of my friends just lying on a stump like a birthday cake. We were out camping for the weekend. It was me, Casey, Theo, Chantal, and Sylvain. It was a nice time. Before, the animal attack. We wanted to backpack a little rougher that weekend. We're pretty much broke, so we used that as an excuse to have a little bit more of a wild experience. Figured that the hiking would give us a little extra muscle in time for most of us to go to university. I was taping a going away video for everyone too, so I brought my camcorder. Me and Sylvain were both headed to Brock, but I wanted to give everyone a DVD at the end of summer to remember the good times. So we bushwhacked to Brew Lake. Even borrowed my dad's sat phone, but with the cell towers they just put up, I don't know why I bothered. Brought a map and a compass too, but Chantal had just got one of those iPhones with a huge screen, so she just used that as a GPS. We found the lake just fine. Swam a bunch, fished a little, drank some beers, blasted some music. God, when I write it all down, I feel like a chick from a slasher movie. Titties out and wearing a sign that says, "Kill me." We hiked out Friday night at lunchtime and got there mid-afternoon, set up camp, did our stuff, hung out, whatever. Overnight was fine. Probably heard the normal amount of wildlife you hear at a lake, but we didn't really see anything bigger than a chipmunk. Second night also started fine. Chantal went to bed early, but me, Casey, Sylvain, and Theo stayed up around the fire and just talked about school. We wanted to finish the rest of the beer, so we didn't have to carry the liquid weight out, and Chantal usually wore earplugs to sleep, so we didn't worry too much about keeping really quiet. I got this idea that I'd have everyone around the fire tell her something like, "Don't worry, we're going to school, but we'll come back to this crappy little town all the time because we love you so much." I don't think your folks could afford college or anything, so yeah, hence the fancy little iPhone as a consolation prize. We ran low on firewood eventually, so I went to scrounge a little more and brought my camera to see if I could get a nice shot of the lake in moonlight. Theo followed me out that way too, just for about the same reason. He wanted to get a nice view of the lake in the moonlight while he took a leak. We separated somewhere along the shore. I got my shot of the lake. I didn't see him alive again. I was heading back and picking up some pieces of deadwood as I went. I was goofing around with taping myself doing some pretty lame tricks with the bits of wood, so I was taking my time and being loud, laughing and stuff. I thought I heard Leo coming back from his piss break, so I called out to him to get some sticks and start, juggling them or something for the camera, but I didn't see him when I looked through the trees. I call out for him. I think maybe he forgot his flashlight and he's wandering around a little lost, so I step off the really light path we had going from our camp to the water and look around for him. Nothing. So I figure I just heard a raccoon or something moving around in the woods, and he's already made it back to the fire without me. I turn around to do the same, and I realize I can't see the fire anymore from where I am. Now, that's already crazy to me. I did not go that far, and I am seriously not so drunk that I'd lose my way like that. So then I remember, the fire went out. You are literally out here to collect firewood, don't freak out. So I start walking a little ways in the direction I know the campsite was. Nothing. Okay. No big deal. I just reorient myself to the moon, which was rising on the far side of the lake literally 5 minutes ago when I got my footage, and I start walking towards that. I start freaking out a little then because it's taking a lot longer than 5 minutes, and I don't even catch a glimpse of the lake through the trees, even though I could feel the downslope to the shore. So I smarten up and I stop. I get ready to have everyone back at camp laugh at me for getting lost, and I am just about to call out when I see it. That stump, the one with a pile of intestines and a bag that I think was Theo's stomach, just sitting on top as neat as you please. Breath goes out of me. First I think I'm looking at parts of a dead deer or something. How for all I know, maybe it was, and Theo's still out there. I'm looking at this pile and I see it steaming. I realize I can smell it. I'm still thinking it's a deer at that point, but I knew that something pulled that thing apart, so I dropped my camcorder and most of the wood. I have my survival knife in one hand, a big piece of wood from my pile in the other, and I'm looking around with my headlamp in case the bear or coyote or wolf or whatever is still around. I'm out there on high alert and I start hearing panting, like dog panting from somewhere in the trees. So I have my eyes everywhere. I know I should probably start yelling to get my friend's attention and to frighten away whatever is making the sound, but I'm so scared. I can smell that pile of guts and another smell on top of that. Thick, kind of fishy stink, and it's getting worse. I back into a tree and the panting is so loud. I turn around and it was a tree that I bumped into, but there's something standing right behind it with half of its face staring out at me. I'm so close that I don't even see the edges of its head in the circle of the light from my headlamp. One yellow eye glares back at me from a wall of fur. Doesn't even blink when the light hits it. Pupil is so dark. The thing behind the tree doesn't move, but I fall to my knees anyway, and I just stare at the ground at its feet. Its breath is like a waterfall, and it's so cold. It washes down my throat through my open mouth, and I think I start crying, but I stay silent. My eyes stay down. Its front feet are dug into the leaf litter like tree roots. They're flexing and kneading the earth, and I know one swipe would open me up. I hear saliva snapping above me, and I know the grin I glimpsed on the way down to my knees has turned into an open maw. It lowers this long snout until I can see its front teeth and tongue and lips, and it starts speaking to me in a low, buzzing growl. Its tongue flickers over its teeth, and there are huge, engorged ticks crusted around the strip of bare skin between fur and nose. Saliva drips from its mouth, and I see small animal bones captured in each drop like bugs in amber. It's been talking, but I don't have the shape of the words. I knew I was going to be killed and eaten by this thing the second I came face to face with it. That this short moment between being spotted and being torn apart was just an appetizer. That's why it so carefully draped the least edible parts of Theo on the stump for me to see. Wants me to marinate. Like a nice piece of meat. While I wait for the teeth to close around my neck, I start getting a notion. Not even a thought, just an impression. That maybe I can appease it. Do a little dance as I slide down its throat. That even though I'm caught, dead, I'm eaten, I can still somehow earn just the faintest touch of mercy from it if I just do something to amuse it. So I did. I got to my feet and it stopped speaking. It just stared and grinned, panted. Panted so fast you'd think it was dying. I walked back to camp. I felt it right behind me the entire time. At the edge of the trees I had another one of those notions, so I took off all my clothes and put them into a pile. I walked up to the fire pit with my 3 fens in the embers of our campfire, and I killed them all with my buck knife. It was no trouble. I went into Chantel's tent after that and I killed her too. It watched me from the edge of the camp. It found a tree to stand behind and watch with only one eye. It panted. It grinned. After they were all dead, I walked into the lake and waded out to my neck, and I stayed there until dawn. It watched me from the shore until it wasn't anymore. Then I put all my clothes back on. I walked out of the woods. I did it. I killed my friends at Brule Lake. I did it because I thought it might amuse the thing from the woods. But I also think that they're better off after trespassing on that thing's domain than I am. Better dead than eaten. Now, I want you to lock me up. I'm guilty. I want a place without any windows. I'm guilty. And I'm somewhere still in its mouth. Alive. But just waiting for it to bite down.